Hey, this is Steve for mythecareer.wordpress.com, and today I wanted to offer a bit of a review of the January-February edition of Creative Screenwriting magazine. I signed up for this when I first learned about it back in November. Dusty McLeod, who I've got a link to on the blog, a writer friend of mine, turned me on to the Creative Screenwriting magazine podcast, which is put out sometimes weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, sometimes monthly. Basically as often as they can get writers to sit down and do an interview. And the podcast talks a lot about all the things that an aspiring writer and a hobbyist writer wants to know about. How'd you get into the industry? What tips do you have? How do you do your work? How do you structure your stories? Any advice? Everything you want to know about as an aspiring or hobbyist writer, these podcasts talk about. So I thought, well, if that's what the podcasts are about, I bet you the magazine follows pretty much the same route. And I was spot on with that. The subscription cost on the website is $29.95. You can find it for $27.95 using one of the index cards that come in the magazine itself. Let me see, whatever these are called, these things that fall out, whatever. $27.95 using one of those. 6 issues a year, bi-monthly. I've really been happy I got this. The articles in there are written for an amateur or aspiring writer. They are framed for people that are maybe in the industry but aren't. This isn't being written for your established writer. This is being written for somebody who's in the industry that does some writing, is trying to get better at writing. Even for people who just like film and like knowing more about screenplays in general and how film is rated, it's just a really, really solid screenplay or magazine. I was a little intimidated worrying that it would be over my head. It would be, it'd be more like the trade papers like Hollywood Reporter and Variety, but it's not. It's geared much more for I don't want to say lower tier, but the amateur or the aspiring market. And circulation's, I think, about 26,000 copies a month. There's a lot of really good resources in here. The articles are written by people who are in the industry, who have broken into the industry, who are looking back, who are offering advice. There's columns from agents in there. There's columns from managers in there. The editor has some really cool stuff. There's insights into technology. I learned about an iPhone screenwriting app. They interviewed Sid Field about his views on the iPhone app and how that can allow people to write anywhere they want. There was some really nice retrospective articles in here. It's just chock full of really useful information that an aspiring writer like me or anybody else out there who does it as a hobby or as a long-term goal, maybe they write on the weekends, this is the type of magazine you're looking for. It's not, it's very much on your level. It's not like if you're in you play high school baseball, you don't need ESPN the magazine to become a better baseball player. If you're an aspiring writer, you need this magazine to become a better writer. It just offers things that you can't get anywhere else. In my opinion. I haven't been able to find the types of stuff in here on the internet or on other blogs and stuff. It's really, really a great resource, and I can't recommend it enough. So the Creative Screenwriting magazine, the January-February issue, if you just want to try it out instead of signing up for a subscription, cover price is $7. You might be able to find it cheaper on newsstands. It's probably available on newsstands in Los Angeles, Hollywood, maybe New York. Outside of that, I don't know where you'd be able to pick it up on newsstands. But I'm really happy with it. And it kind of, when it arrived in the mail, I was very excited to get my first copy. And like I said, I can't really recommend it enough if you're an aspiring writer. So definitely check it out. Once again, it's Creative Screenwriting magazine, put out bi-monthly. And this is Steve for mythecareer.wordpress.com. Keep writing.